Hi everyone, today I'm going to demonstrate the 2-needle flat stitch technique. So essentially this step, it's the very first step in creating a beaded work of art. So the materials you will need is obviously beads. Today I'm going to be using size 11 check seed beads. But if you feel that these are really too small and difficult for you to work with, you can always opt for a bigger size, such as, a size 6. And if you find that you want to work even smaller, you can go ahead and work with beads that are size 13. So just for comparison, these are 11s and these are size 13. And then these are size 6. So the size and color, it's really up to you and whatever you have designed. So you're gonna need a little block of beeswax, some thread, and needles. So given that my size of beads are a bit smaller, I'm going to be using a size 12 short John James needle. But if you're opting to use a bigger size for your beads, such as a size 6, a bigger needle will be needed, and as well as a much thicker thread. So since it's the 2-needle flat stitch, of course you're going to need to thread 2 needles. Now I've already done that ahead of time. I've already threaded 1 needle. So now the length of your thread, it really depends on your design. If your design is pretty elaborate, well then of course you're going to need it to be way longer. So what you're going to do is you're going to run the thread through the beeswax. So you kind of put it on there and just thread it through. You plug it and then you pull it. And then you do it on the other side. And you repeat this process for a couple times. So you're going to repeat this a second time for the second needle. I've already done that ahead of time, so I have these prepared. So now the most important material that you will need is, of course, your fabric stabilizer. So this is what you're going to be beading on. Now there are a couple options. So right now, this is for another project that I'm doing, and I'm going to be beading on felt, or felt that I created using the wet felting technique. And so you aren't limited to just this. There are different types of fabric stabilizers. I know some people use buckskin, some people use leather. So the material that you decide to bead on is entirely up to you, but of course make sure that it can handle being sewed through. And make sure that it isn't extremely fragile. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just start beading in the middle of the piece. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna poke your needle through the back, pull it. And so this first needle, this needle is what you're going to thread your beads on. So this needle, it's simply just to hold beads. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your little container of beads and you're just going to start placing them onto the needle. Okay, so now I've threaded a couple of beads, or a line of beads on this thread. With the second needle, we're gonna go through the back. So now when you're poking it through the back side, you wanna make sure that it's close to the line of beads. So you go up right next to it. Pull it through. And then when you come back down, Make sure that the line of beads isn't loose. You're kind of pulling on it so it's tight. And then you're gonna place the thread every 2 beads. That's where you're going to sew. So then you pull it from the other side. And there. And then again, the next 2 beads are right here. So I should be placing the needle right in between these 2 beads. Pull it through. Then when we come back down, right there on the other side. Make sure not to poke yourself. So as you can see with the very first row, see how it isn't completely flat? There's like a bead or 2 that's sticking up. What you can do is you can go back and place a stitch to force the bead down. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So this bead right here is bothering me. It's kind of sticking up. So I'm going to place a stitch here to keep it down. So I just wanted to demonstrate this technique. This isn't, you know, I didn't have a particular design when I began this. So this is just for demonstration purposes. But once you've decided on a design and you've decided on a color scheme and the size of the beads you want to utilize, these are some of the outcomes that can happen. So this is a pair of earrings I bought. So you can create something like this with, you know, of course, patience. Or this is another design by an artist I bought from. And this is just a little heart I made for Valentine's Day. And this is also possible to make. So with, you know, if you have patience and you decide to invest in this technique and learn more about beading and beadwork, and you decide to pursue other steps that follow after this very first one, this is just some of the outcomes that can happen. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it taught you more about beading.